Good to see you. You're welcome. Okay, so we are 3 minutes behind schedule. So let's start. So if your microphone is on, you should please put it off down so that we don't have echoes. So congratulations. I always say this whenever people attend any form of workshop, whether free or paid, because for you to take that decision to leave some other things to come and learn, you should be congratulated for taking that decision. In fact, recently, YouTube gave me a recap of my 2025 journey. I think this should be this, just started that recap this year. And I was surprised when they said that only 2% of YouTubers are self-improvers. So you'll be wondering the number of people you have on YouTube, and only 2% are self-improvers. That will tell you that it's not a very common thing for people to try to improve. And I've also seen it as a coach. Sometimes we assume that maybe it's because of money, that's why people don't sign up for some things. But even for the free ones, you see that even people don't still sign up. So there is that apathy. So whenever I see people come up to learn, it gets me excited. So that's why I'm congratulating you. So welcome once again. This is a Microsoft Word workshop, and we decided to start this in the community because my intention when we created a community last year wasn't just to get people to sign up for our paid courses. No, the intention was to get people to learn from each other. By the time we interact with each other, we'll learn more and understand medical writing. So that was why, even though we have the paid courses, I still try as much as possible to get some free courses in between so that people will know that the community wasn't just set up for that reason. So, and another reason also is that medical writing is quite vast, even public health, and you use a whole lot of tools. And you are as good as your knowledge of the tools in front of you. As a doctor, as a healthcare worker, or whoever you are, if you can't understand your tools, even if the tools are there, they'll be useless. You can still give out your best without an understanding of the tools. So my intention is for us to do, we termed it a workshop, because the intention is not to come and show slides and go away. No, we want to look at the software itself and then learn. I call it raw learning. We'll learn directly from the software. Sometimes it's better than just looking at slides. So that's one reason for this workshop. Another reason also is I also saw it as a way to give people a platform. Because one thing I've noticed that it's not enough to know what you know. You need to learn how to communicate what you know. I've seen a whole lot of business moguls. For some of us who are not Nigerians, may not understand some of the examples I want to give. But somebody like, we have a very big entrepreneur in Nigeria, Mrs. Ibukun Awashika. She started as a businesswoman, started with a furniture company, but right now she travels the world to talk about business. So she moved from that level of just being a businesswoman to the level of being able to communicate what she was doing to the world. And now I believe she raises more, makes more income from that than from her business. And why some of us know her is because of the different speaking engagements she has, that we've been able to listen to her different programs apart from her furniture company. So whatever you're doing, whether you're a pharmacist or whatever, you have to learn how to communicate what you do. There was a post I shared this morning on the group. Part of the thing that struck me in that post was when one of the points said that you have to learn how to curate your professional presence. Nobody will do that for you. You have to curate that presence through mentorship, maybe coaching, facilitation, speaking, going to events, attending events. You have to learn how to create that presence, and being able to speak is one way to create the presence. So that was why I created the platform, so that People will have the opportunity. It's an open thing. Once you understand any tool and you think that you can communicate it to the rest of us, you inform me and I'll take it off from there. And one thing I always try to do is I'll try to amplify it. Like we have a flyer which I shared, not just on LinkedIn, even beyond LinkedIn. Then even the speaker, the professional summary for the speaker, all this, I wasn't just sharing them to invite people for the program. I was sharing them to expand the reach of the speaker and also to expand the reach of the brand. So some of these steps are quite intentional. And one thing you will have to understand is that once you put up a post, unless you delete it, that post remains. So the relevance goes beyond the event. Yes, once we finish this event, I will start posting about it, but whatever I posted about this event remains. So the relevance, the reach goes beyond the event. So that's the second reason that I decided to say, okay, let people come up, at least let them be able to learn how to do some of these things. And you may be thinking of one day speaking at the United Nations General Assembly, but it has to start from somewhere. It has to start from somewhere. So, and most times big things start from very little places, very tiny moments that sometimes may look inconspicuous to you, but someone may just spot that moment. And because of that moment, a whole lot of things will happen in your life. So I'm quite happy that I'm not the one speaking today. In fact, before you know it, you won't hear my voice again. So I'm so happy that someone else is taking this. And I look forward to some other persons also coming up to say that they want to do this. So on this note, I welcome each and every one of us. And in the next few minutes, the voice you hear will be the voice of our speaker. But before then, I want to introduce her, and I want to thank her because I didn't give her the notice wasn't quite long. It was a short notice, just about 2 weeks, and she was able to oblige to do this. So I congratulate her for that. Okay, so our speaker today is Dr. Olutomi Sodipo. She's a consultant public health physician and fellow of the West African College of Physicians and National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, with interest in malaria, maternal, child and adolescent health, vaccine preventable diseases, and non-communicable diseases. She obtained her Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery degree from the University of Maiduguri, Nigeria, and the Master of Public Health with distinction from the University of Leeds, United Kingdom. She has worked for the USAID-funded Malaria Action Program for states, MAPS, support for National Malaria Program, SUNMAP, and the Boni Malaria Elimination Project, NLNG, and World Health Organization. She's a certified project manager professional and currently works with the Malaria Consortium as the state program manager on the seasonal malaria chemo prevention project in the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Outside work, she bakes and also volunteers with the youth in her church. So with an ovation, I want to say our emojis. Let's welcome Dr. Olutomi Sodipo. So the next voice you hear, it says, thank you for that. Thank you, Halimat. Thank you, Selena. Thank you, everyone. Etug. Okay, so the next voice you hear will be hers.
Thank you, Dr. Azuka. Good evening, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you so much for the invitation. I do not take it lightly. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to teach of what I know to your community. And just to let those on the call know, I am also a member of our community. I joined Dr. Azuka's Medical Writing Challenge early this year. And I learned a lot of things that I didn't even know one could learn. So I congratulate you all for being a part of her community. And one thing Dr. Azuka always does, since I met her through LinkedIn and the challenge, was that she always looks for a way to give back to others. There was even also a challenge I just recently finished, a LinkedIn challenge, and I got to know it through her because she shares a lot of things on the platform. And that also stretched me and I learned a lot. So when I saw her invite, I missed it, I think by like 2 days because I've been very busy. I was like, I have to squeeze in time, to be able to give back the way she has always done since I got to know her this year. So welcome everyone. And like she said, congratulations for being here. I always tell people that one learns every day. Nobody knows everything. I'm still learning. Everyone is still learning. And one should have an open mind and one can learn from anybody and at any time. And referring to the post that she was talking about on LinkedIn, I also went to read it. And there were very salient and pertinent points that I got out of it. One needs to learn skills. It's not enough to only have head knowledge, but you should also have skills because that's what sets one apart. And once you continue to evolve, especially with the changing landscape. I'm in public health. I specialized in public health, and we all know what has been happening. I'm sure you know someone or you know someone who knows someone that has been affected by the current funding landscape in public health. So it's important that one learns skills. And there was also a story that Dr. Azuka put up, about going for an interview. So I'd like to ask, how many of us have gone for interviews before and we had a practical based test? You can do by show of hands, either Microsoft Word, Excel, maybe they say type a memo or give you a scenario to calculate something. Has anybody had that by show of hands? You have attended an interview and you were expecting technical questions. Oh, you've read up about the organization. And the first question they're asking you is, for example, let's say you are the project manager and you're supposed to send a memo to your program director on a certain project. Yes, okay, I can see a hand up. And you're timed. Or they say, oh, they present it to you a Microsoft document, which is aligned to the left, aligned to the right, and they give you instructions on how to format it. Well, I am a living, breathing example. I've had interviews where you have questions on Microsoft Word, you have questions on Microsoft Excel, completely separate and different from the technical work that you're going to be doing on the job. And that is what sets you apart from others. So people may be saying, oh, why Microsoft Word? Why do I need to know Microsoft Word? I type. Do I not type? I've been typing since some would say secondary school, medical school. It's more than typing. It's more than, there are ways to type, there are ways to work smartly, there are ways to work efficiently, especially as medical writers and public health professionals. The way we present our work is a reflection of us. People may not get to see you or speak to you, but the first thing they come in contact with is your work. And you could be excellent at what you do, but the work you present may not present you in a good light. And they make their judgments based off on what you send, based off on your article, the article that you send, based off on meeting minutes that you sent, conference proceedings that you sent, and they judge you. It also shows, if you present excellent work, it shows you are excellent, and there's no gainsaying. So for Microsoft Word, what I want to start off with is, if you have two devices, it would help. Maybe your phone that has a Microsoft Word on it, or if you have two laptops, fine, so that as we go along, you can also try these things with me. I also want to say that it's always good to buy the licenses. I know some of us, buy the cracked versions, but if you can afford to buy Microsoft 365, please buy Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 has the Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, and all the other things. It's always, for me, I say it's neater that way, because you don't have issues of the Microsoft not working, and because it's, there are newer versions. So if you have a very old version, I would advise that you update it. So I always advise that you buy the licenses. These licenses exist, instead of just using cracked versions. Okay, so I will be sharing my screen. Let me share my screen. So at any point, if you have a question, you can type in the question. If I'm too fast, you let me know. I want to believe it's a mixture. The people that we have here are a mixture of beginners, of those in the medium group, and those who are excellent. And like I was telling Dr. Azuka before the meeting started, I'm still learning too, and I learn things every day. It's always good to also look out for others, who are teaching on things that you want to learn. So can you confirm by thumbs up if you can see my Microsoft Word document? Great, thank you. Can you see the whole screen? Or if you can see the whole screen, and that's fine. All right, thank you. So I'm sure some might be wondering, why is our screen dark? I like dark screens. You can see I'm using glasses. So dark screens make my eyes more comfortable. I see better and I'm able to work better. But it's not as if there's anything wrong with my screen. So I can show you, or I will show you how you can change between white, which we are used to, is default. At a point in my life, I always thought I couldn't change it to any other color. And I was always complaining that, but it's too bright. Or reduce the color, the brightness on your laptop. I'm like, but that is not the issue. And then I realized that I could actually change it to black. So if we open up our Microsoft Word documents, are we there? If we are there, then we can move. There we go to File. I'm clicking on File. File, then we go down to More. And then to Options. File, More, Options. So we can see all this. If we go down, we now go to Office Theme. We can see it's in black. Can we see that? You can give me a thumbs up if you can see black. If we click, you can see dark gray, black, white. Use system setting, colorful. So I'll change it to white. And I'll say OK. So it has changed to white. So everything is white. If I still go back, File, More, Options, come back here, change it to dark gray. So this one changes the background, but leaves this one as white. So I'm going to go back to black, and then I'll show us something. So I go back to black, I say OK. So this is my black mode or the dark mode that I'm comfortable with. If I want to leave the surroundings as black, but the page itself as white, I go to View, switch modes, because we can see dark mode, switch modes, and then it goes to white. So you can go that route, file, options, change the color of the office theme, or come here, if it is in black, one can change it. So I wanted to get that out of the way so that we are not worried about it. So for the purpose of this session, I will be changing it to white. And then I can go back to my black or dark mode when we're done. So this one, I guess the other one I wanted to show was the colorful, where we see, if we go to colorful, so we now see the default blue line, and then every other thing is white. So I think I'll leave it at this so that it gives us some form of contrast. I need to reduce, okay, let me reduce the Google screen. It's a bit large. Okay. All right. So can we see where my cursor is? We can see file, home, insert, draw, design, layout, references, mailings, review, view, where we came to, help, acrobats, and then we have things underneath. So we call this the home. This is the home tab. So this is a ribbon. The whole of this is a ribbon. And most of what one is going to be doing is usually with this home tab. You know, if we click on home, we can see clipboard, font, paragraph, styles, up until Copilot, which is a form of AI, you know, like ChatGPT, and editor. So if we click on any of them, so this is home, insert, different options come up, draw, design, and so on and so forth. So most of what medical writers do, yes, we put things down, we type, we format, you know, we edit, we review. Either you are reviewing alone or you are collaborating with others to review together. So I'll take us through some of these things. So on this home tab, a lot of things can be done. I want to generate a random text. So you can generate a random text to play with. And you can do that by saying equal rand, the number of paragraphs and the number of sentences that you want. So equal rand, so it's a formula. So if we say 6 paragraphs, comma, 4 sentences, and close it, it gives you a random text that you can play with. So I'll take that again. You can undo. So you can see the undo button. So equal rand, P, that's number of paragraphs, comma, S, number of sentences. So you can put whatever number you want. You can make it 10 paragraphs. You can make it 7 lines or 7 sentences, whatever you want. Okay, so I wanted to generate this to be able to show us some things. Usually, if one is sending out a document, if there are no specifications, because your client or the organization may have specifications on either the font type, the font size, line spacing, and so many other things. If they don't give any specifications, the common font types are Arial. So here under home tab, where we can see Calibri body, when we click, you can see different font types. So the one here, Calibri is also common. If you go down, you will see Arial. Arial is common. Then Times New Roman. Instead of going down, you can just type Times New Roman, comes up. Aptos is also a common font type. So it's good to stick to these ones unless there is a specification. You wouldn't want to be using something like Rage Italic. So if I want to change it, this is to highlight. This is already showing Calibri body. So if I want to change it to anyone, click on it. So if you look at this and look at Calibri body, it's not really very readable, is it? This is called Alasasi caps. I've not even used that before. So it's always good to use font types that are readable and clear. So this is another one that is good. Aptos. Aptos is good. Arial is good. Times New Roman is good. Unless the client or organization specifies that you use a particular one. And then a common rule of thumb is the font size. As we can see, font size on the screen. Control plus Shift plus P. A commonly acceptable font size is size 12. Size 11 is also acceptable. In some cases, size 10. So it's reducing as you go. You don't want to use size 8. Size 8 is very tiny unless you want to use it as footnotes under a table, for instance. So size 12 acceptable, size 11, and then sometimes size 10. So that's for font type and font size. If you want to bolden, is to highlight whatever you want to highlight and click on bold. That's B. B is bold. If you want to italicize, you do that. If you want to underline, it's underlined. For example, if you have a title, so let's say enter, we say, okay, because already, so let me take it off, and off. So I want to type, I say medical writing workshop. Medical writing workshop. Highlight. I want to make it bold. I want to underline it. And what if I want to move it to the center? I can say Control E. Control plus E. That's on your laptop or your keypad. Control plus E can take it to the middle if you want it at the center. Another place that can take it to the center, I can go back. You can always undo everything. If we look at this place under paragraphs, we can see align left. The next one is center, Control E. The next one is align right, Control R. So this is to the left. If I click here, it goes to the center. If I click here, it goes to the right. So most of the things we see on the right, aligned right, if you're writing a letter, probably the date, address can be aligned right. And then if you're also trying to work on your CV or your resume, and if you put the year here, where you've worked, probably the location, you can now align it to the right. So I'm taking it back there and putting it in the middle. If I do not want the underline button again, I click on it and it's gone. If I don't want it to be bolded, I click on it and it's gone. So for this one that we underlined, I want to take it back. I've highlighted and then I can come back here. So you can see undo bold. So I can do that. If I don't want to use this arrow to undo, because as many times as you click, it's going to undo everything that you have done. So you see everything is coming back. I can still go forward. So it's just for one to play with. If I want to take out the underline, I highlight, I click, it's gone. Italics is gone. Bold is gone. This other one here, strike through. If you are reviewing a document, we'll still get to that, and you don't want to use the review track changes, you can highlight and then cross. So you cross it out. I'll just be picking some things I feel will always be using. So I can undo that. If we want to put a subscript or superscript, one can do that. If you want to highlight, text color, this is for highlight. Or you want to change the font color, because everything, once you put the cursor on it, it tells you what it represents. So if you want to change the font color, you change the font color. Different colors that you can use. So you can change it to any color of your choice. The next one to it is if you want, okay, this other one that I missed, if you want to change to uppercase, it has changed to capital letters. If you want to capitalize each word, if it is in for the heading, for example, let's take the heading. Sentence case is already in sentence case. This is sentence case, starting with a capital letter and continuing with small letters. Lowercase, there is no capital letter anywhere. Uppercase, everything is in capital letters. Capitalize each word. So M in medical is capitalized, W is capitalized, W in workshop is also capitalized. So yes, you can type and then you can come here and change it. Then toggle case. Well, we won't be using much of this. Probably maybe if you are doing graphics or something, you can now decide to toggle it this way. So for this other one in paragraphs, we can see this is called bullets. So if you have lists that you want to type, okay, so Control B. If I'll take us to shortcuts if there is still time. Instead of coming here to click on bold, I can do Control B and then it takes me to bold. It's now bold. You see, I didn't go there to click. So, and if I want to undo, Control B again. I'll say the time is 8:36 p.m. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So you can see the tab will automatically prompt and say, oh, that means it's Wednesday. You click on the tab button and then it completes it for you. So I don't need to type. So this also helps you type your work faster. It completes it. So I've typed 3 very short sentences. And I want to put bullet points. So I can come here. This is bullets. There are different bullets. Is it the dark dots, the round one? Different ones. I like this one. So I can use that. Back, enter. I can do that. And then, so you can change it. If you want to change all of them at the same time, you highlight, you come back, you choose what you want. If I want to change all of them at the same time, sometimes it decides to So you double click, you come back, you change it to what you want. So in what you are writing, the document you are writing, it may not be all of paragraphs, full blocks. You may want to put bullet points. So, breaking the way it looks, and then it makes the document look very nice. If you come here and then you want it to be numbers instead, is it 1, 2, 3? Is it ABC? Whatever you want, it changes. So I've already touched on align left, align right. So if we go through several documents, probably maybe WHO documents, for example, or any other documents you've come across, many documents you see are justified. Justified is a straight line on the left, straight line on the right. It doesn't mean that if it is not justified, it's wrong. No. Justification just makes it look better. But there are still global documents that you see, national documents that are not justified, and that's still okay. So this is align left, center. If we say center, no, we don't want to be centering anything, unless you could use this for those who carry out qualitative studies and you want to write out what a respondent has said. So you can use this because it breaks the text. If we do this, this is justified. This is justified. And then you can leave this to be in the center, and then you italicize. So for italics, I've already shown us that we can click here. It shows italic. But if you don't want to do that, because coming here and clicking may take your time, a shortcut is Control-I. Control-I. So I think I'll just be talking about the shortcut as I'm going along. I've spoken about bolding. Control-B. Instead of coming here and clicking on it, you can also do Control-B. For italics, and it also shows you the Control-B. For italics, you can either click here or do Control-I. And that was what I did. So yes, you could see something like this, and then you're wondering how. So the first paragraph is justified. This one is what we use here, center or Control-E. And then for the third paragraph, also justified. So many documents you see, you can highlight everything and Control-J. Control-J, or you come here and you click on justify. Another thing that is important, that makes your documents readable, because you may have a lot of information, but it is not readable. It's difficult to read. And once your document is difficult to read, the tendency is that it may not be read. Or even if it is read, there's already a bias before reading your document. So something that is very important is line and paragraph spacing. Rule of thumb, unless it's specified otherwise, we usually use 1.5 or 2. So if we come to paragraph 3 and we highlight and come here where we can see the arrow up and arrow down, line and paragraph spacing. So we can see 1.15, 1.5, 2 to 3, and then other line spacing options. So if we click on 1.0, we can see that is more cramped. The lines are cramped together. If we click on 1.15, there is more space. If we click on 1.5, there is even more space and one can read it better. If we click on 2, much more space. So rule of thumb, line spacing 2 or 1.5, unless it is specified by your clients that they want 1 or 1.15, especially if you are dealing with reduced number of pages, then you need to reduce the line spacing. Another thing, okay, then for paragraphs, okay, for paragraphs, for example, I've put my cursor here in front of themes. If I'm too fast, please let me know. I don't know if I'll be able to see comments. Let me expand and see. Okay, I think we're still good. Okay, great. We're still good. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to reduce the size. To insert paragraphs, we come back to the line spacing and we can see add space before paragraph, remove space after paragraph. Where the cursor is this is the paragraph that is referring to. So if we say, so notice the change. If we say add space before paragraph, because we have already put a paragraph, you may not notice. But if we come back and say remove space after paragraph, did we notice anything? Add space after paragraph, we can see, yes, so there's a space there. Then remove space after paragraph. It's important to, when one is writing, you know, to put your thoughts in paragraphs because it also enhances readability. So we add a space after the paragraph. So like I said in the beginning, there are a lot of things one can do on this home tab alone. Something else I want to show us before we move is, okay, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. Let's go to insert. Insert. So on insert, we can see cover page, blank page, page break, table, pictures, shapes, icons, a lot of things, comments, header, footer, page number. These are things that as medical writers are important to us. So you have a document and you say, I want to insert a cover page. What do I do? Come here, this cover page. And then we have a variety of cover pages that you can use. You can even go to office.com, and this is, you know, where a valid license comes into play, because there are some things you will not be able to access if you're using a cracked version. So you have a document and you want to insert a cover page. So I just clicked on one and I've put a cover page, and this is what we're working on before. So it automatically inserts one for you. It automatically puts my name because the laptop is registered in my name. We can also change the name. I'll show us if we are going to be reviewing documents and you want to remain anonymous. Your name doesn't have to show, especially if it's going to be a blinded kind of review. So I can do whatever I want here. I can change it. You know, this is a workshop. I can change it. And what is it? Don't tell me anything. So you can remove it. This picture, I can change it. Come to pictures if you have pictures on your device. If you want to generate an image, if you stock images, you can change the picture. Let's see, do I have any picture? Do I have any pictures that are here? Okay, these are my birthday pictures. Okay, so May Street. Insert. So you see, I've inserted it. I've changed the picture. I can reduce it. I can reduce the picture. Document title. What do I want to call it? Draft. Drafts. I'll just say draft. So you can do whatever you want to do. This is a cover page. So you already have a cover page. You know, it makes your document look pretty professional, if I must say. So that's for cover pages. You can also create a cover page from scratch. So you can check that up. You can open Microsoft Word document, a blank document, and create it yourself, and then it's saved. You save it to the cover page selection gallery. So that's for cover page. So let me go back. Let's go back. So if you don't even want to go back like that, and you're like, it's taking too long, remove cover page. So you don't need to waste time. I'm saying back. You just go back there and remove the cover page. If you want to insert a blank page, you can. Tables. If one wants to insert a table, you come to table. How many rows, how many columns do you want? 7 by 5. And then you type in what you want. So as you can see, this table has come out. It automatically brings out table design. Do I want header rows? Do I want a first column? How do I want the style to be? Do I want it to have colors or not? I can modify the table. Do I want it plain? Do I want to change the borders? Do I want it thick? Do I want it thin? Do I want to color it? You can do a lot with the table design. Do I want the inner borders to show when we come to borders? Do you want the top border to be there? All borders? Okay, I want the whole thing. Let me go back to this one so that I can show properly. Do I want all borders to show? Or do I only want the inside border? You know, left and right. So you can play with it. So you play with it and draw the kind of table you want. Going back to insert. So you saw how I inserted pictures. If you want to insert pictures, like you have a report and they took pictures at the meeting you went for, and you want to insert a picture. You know, you come here, you click on insert this device, and you insert your picture. This is for those who, if you have probably a framework, you know, a flow chart that you want to use, you can click on shapes. It's blue, that's the default. I can come here, it's green. The same way I played with the table is the same way you can play with this. You know, if you want to change the color, the effect, what effects do you want? So these are usually for flowcharts, like I said, for you to use. So this is an arrow. If you want to bring something down, so you now include another one. So you can also change the color of the arrow. You can change the direction. You play around with it. If you want to, okay, so let's complete that. If you want to use a box, so you see, you can now move it. So different things come up, you know. So you can create your own flow chart. The other thing I want to talk about is comments. You are reviewing a document and you want to make a comment, to draw the person's attention to a point. So this is insert. Under insert, you look to your right, you see comments. You click on comments. You can see my name and start a conversation. Let's type in, what do you mean by points? And now post it. So when the person opens the document, the person sees your comment. Even after you've posted your comment, you can come here, you can see the pencil and says edit comments. You can edit it if you made a mistake. If you don't want to put the question mark, you post. If you don't click on enter, your comment has not been posted. So if you click on these three dots, you can see resolve thread, delete thread, link to comment. It becomes a thread when there's now more than one comment. So if it has been resolved, if you are reviewing and collaborating, for example, you're both working, or 3 of you or 5 of you are working on a Google Doc. Dr. Azuka took you through a Google Doc session. Microsoft Word is something you work on, you can work offline and you're working on it alone. Google, that one is online and you can collaborate with other people, and people are seeing in real time. You are seeing in real time what each person is doing. So if Mr. A has put in a comment and it has been resolved, you can now click on resolve thread. So you have resolved the comment. So comments are important for medical writers and reviewers. Something I wanted to talk about was, okay, you see when I put my comment, you can see my name, and I talked about remaining anonymous. If you don't want your name to show, this is what you do. You come to file, you go to options or more. Here is more, yes, more, then options. So remember, we came here to change from black to white, white to black. Can you see under username? Username is showing my name and the initials is showing O. So let's see what happens if I change it to anonymous, because sometimes one has to close the document and start again. Then I say okay. Let me save. So it doesn't take effect now. I'll have to close and open. So let me save my document. So what I did was Control S. I typed Control S. That's a shortcut. Instead of coming here to save, a longer version is coming to File, Save, or Save As. That's a longer version. Or I can just do Control S and then it comes up. So save this file as well, medical writing workshop. Where do I want to save it? Where? So for this, since I may take it out, I would say I will just put it on my desktop. So I go to browse. I go to browse on my desktop and say save. Backup, this to talk to us about is headers and footers. So this is header. So we can see this first part blank. It has something, type here. First page header. I can go back. This one has 3 headers. You'll be like, okay, so what do I need a header for? You can type in something. It's one, it can serve as a form of identification, you know, to say, oh, this is your document. You know, you can put, I can put Olutomi Sodipo. Or you can even also put logos. You know, if you have your logos, you can include your logos here. Let me look for one of the pictures here. Let's see, insert. Maybe your organizational logo, your medical writing company's logo. So one is not able to, it prevents other people from maybe stealing your work or something. Let's see. So if I reduce that, so that has come there. So I want to show us something. So if I double click on it again, you can see it's as if it has gone into the background. So it has gone into the background. So it will just remain there, whatever you type here. So if you want to come and edit it, you double click, you can edit it to something else. So it remains in your background. You can put your logos there, or you can even write the title of your document. So this has 3 spaces. You don't always have to use the 3 spaces. You can take this out. This does not necessarily have to be in the middle. You can use your tab key to shift it. You can play around with it. So these are headers, different kinds of headers. There are different types. Same thing with footers. You'll see some documents and you see, they put something at the below. You know, they typed something below. So I've clicked on it. They typed something below. Probably it's still the title of your document, you know, medical workshop. Maybe they even wanted to put the date. Then here you can now put your name, you know, and then you double click. So it is there. So you see medical workshop, December 12, Olutomi. So one continues and then it remains there. So that's for headers and footers. Page numbering is very important. You see documents that have no page numbers, and I wonder why. Your documents should have page numbers unless it has been specified that there should not be any page numbers. So page numbers, usually page number, bottom of page. Bottom of page, where do you want it to be? Is it aligned to the left, in the middle, aligned to the right? Different kinds, you know, different kinds of page numbering. So it's always good, unless you have been told not to include a page number, it's important to include a page number. If you want to include date and time, one can go ahead and do so. Another thing, I'm just trying to pick things that I usually use. Layouts. Layouts, if we're typing, you know, there's a default. And we have, under layout, we have margins. So this is the normal margin from this side to this side is the normal margin. But if you want to reduce the margin and get more information into the page, we can see narrow, we can see moderate, and we can see custom. So you don't even have to use any of them. If you use narrow, can we see what happened? It has expanded the length. If I go back and say normal, so this line, reading, I want to highlight this one so that we see what I'm saying. This line highlighted in yellow. So if I go to layout and go to margins and pick on narrow, what can you notice? It has been able to increase and add text you want if. So this comes in handy for your resumes, for example. If you have to keep your resume at 2 pages and you see that your resume has spilled into 3 pages, you can come to margins and click on narrow. Or for example, if you have a table, which seems to be spilling over because your tables should as much as possible be on 1 page, you can come to margins. If we use wide, let's use wide. I'm sure you've seen documents like this, even books. So this is a margin that is wide that has been used. If it's moderate, in between. So you can play with it. The other thing is orientation. You have portraits. This is portrait. We usually most often than not type in portraits. But if you want landscape, that's wider. It goes wider. And we usually use landscape if we want to draw figures or want to put in tables, which will spill over if we are using portraits. So, and you can have a mixture of portraits and portrait and landscape in your table, and you can change it. This can be portrait, and for me to change this to landscape, I leave my cursor here at the end of the sentence. I come to breaks. Can we see breaks here? Breaks. You can see page, column, text wrapping, next page. So this is section page. Next page. So this section break has come to the next page. I want to see if I can change the orientation of this page. Let's see. Can we see that? So this page is still portrait, but this other page is now landscape. So because I have not put a page break for subsequent ones, every other page below it is going to be landscape. But if I say, okay, so this is I've written here I want to put a table. I want to put a table here. So I need it as landscape, and I want to continue typing in prose and put it as portrait. I come to the table, to the page that's the last page. I go back to layout. I go to breaks, go to section break, next page. So is this page I want to change to landscape. I now come to this one. Where is my cursor? Come back here. Next page. So this is the first page. This one, change it back to landscape. And then because I put a section break between this and this, I can comfortably draw my table with the number of columns and rows I want, and come back and continue typing in prose. So we can see this is in portrait, this is in landscape, and this is in portrait. And then I continue my business. Because you see, sometimes someone is trying to cramp a table into portrait and then continues again. So the table is disjointed. No, you can fit in your table comfortably if you change the orientation to landscape. Another thing I want to talk about is, okay, before I come to references, under review, we have what is known as the editor. The editor is your friend. You also see comments here. So you can see editor, spelling and grammar, thesaurus, word count. So if you click on editor, so you can see it says my editor score is 98%, spelling, grammar, 10, Yeah, so pretty good. I guess it's because it was a randomly generated text online. But it says correction, spelling, 1. And this one, this what came up, this MMM that I put. So if you see anything that has these red jaggedy lines underneath, it shows that there is something wrong with it. So it's not giving me suggestions because this is not a proper word. So if I want to ignore it, I can say ignore once. That's if I want to only ignore this. But if I have this in different parts, like for example, someone's name, because if I put my name in the document, it may most likely highlight it like this. So since it's a name, there's nothing wrong with the name. I can say ignore all. So even if it is in any other part of the document, it will completely ignore it. So corrections is saying grammar. There are 10 issues. What is the issue with the grammar? Let's see. So it says when you click online video, you can paste in the embed code for the video you want to add. Consider embed. Embed what? So this word, it didn't want embed. It says I should consider embed or embedded. For theme, it says I should consider themes. So if I want to consider it and change it, I can. I click on it, it changes. Embed, embedded. So it changes to embedded. If you click on it, that means you're accepting it. So this is the one that was embed. It has changed to embedded. So now you can see it says corrections are 7. I've addressed 3. So if I still want to leave this theme, there's nothing wrong with theme. I don't want to change it to themes. I say ignore once. It goes to the next and the next. So till you go through everything and then you see that everything is okay. Or you can decide to come here, spelling and grammar alone, or you come to editor straight. Another thing is what we call thesaurus. So thesaurus, is like a dictionary, that gives you similar words, synonyms to a word that you're looking for. For example, we know for those of us who have written, articles before, you usually have issues when you're running through a plagiarism checker. It will tell you, oh, your plagiarism score is high. And then you're trying to see how you can change some words. You can use thesaurus. So this embed now that is being highlighted, it says, it's giving me options. It says I can either use implant, I can use insert, surround, entrench. If I want to say insert, so you see several different words. So I say, or pull out. So beside it, there's a small arrow, insert. So it has changed the word. It has changed it to withdrawal. So you can use thesaurus to give you synonyms and change things. They say you shouldn't write more than 1,000 words. How do you now check the word count? Because ordinarily, if you look down, you will already see the word count. I don't know if you can see it, but for me, I can see page 405, 1,123 words. That's for the whole document. Yes. So, but if you want to say, what's the number of words in this paragraph? You highlight it, you come to word count. So you can see words, 114, characters, no spaces, character spaces, paragraph 1. So you are sure that it is this paragraph that you're looking at. So I can close that. The other thing is about tracking. Track changes. Track changes. You are making comments. You are reviewing a document. You are an editor. They send you an article. They send you a manuscript to review. And you want to leave those changes so that people see. So you can go to tracking. You now go to track changes for everyone or just mine. So you see what will happen. You say keep in your a red line is supposed to show. Okay, yeah. So you click on track changes. If someone has typed this, how are you? Today, I am doing fine. And you want to remove today. Today, I am doing fine. We're in track change to make it easier to read. So if I do that and say no, it's cancelled, I come down. So for every change that you make, the person is going to be able to view it. And when the person views it, and this is also very much applicable in Google Docs, the person can either accept all the changes or reject the changes. So accept whatever corrections I have made, and or whatever corrections the other person has made. I agree, I accept, and move to the next. I accept only this change. I accept all changes. I accept all changes and stop tracking. So depending on what you want. So track changes, accepting and rejecting track changes is something that is important as medical writers for us to know. If we're looking for something and we don't know where to find it, help is your friend. So you click on the help button and type, how do I track changes? Track changes options. No, that is not the answer I'm looking for. How do I open a new document? So it says new file. How do I open a new document? New file. Click on new file, it opens it. So you can ask Microsoft Word things you are not clear about, and it will help you do it. Okay, so the other shortcuts I did not mention, if you want to open a document, Control O. Control O goes to open. Instead of coming here and say file, open. What do you want to open? Now go to browse. You can just do Control O and it opens. I've talked about opening a new document. Control N, it opens a new document for you. Instead of going to file, then new, Control N. You've typed book, highlight, Control C, you copy, Control V, you paste. Control C, you copy, Control V, you paste. Highlight, you want to cut, Control X, you cut. Control V, you paste. I've mentioned Control B, Control I, Control U. The other one, undo. Instead of coming here to the undo, you can do Control Z. It goes away. Control Z, it comes back. Control Z, instead of coming to this one. And you can even see it if you put your cursor there. Undo autocorrect, Control Z. Redo, Control Y. So it makes your work faster if you know some of these shortcuts. If you want to close the document, Control W to, but it will still ask you whether you want to save it first. At least it gives you that prompt so that you just don't lose your documents like that. Okay, I can see that we're over the time. The other thing I wanted to take us through was table of contents, but that will take a little while. Yes. So one other thing I wanted to show is if you are working on two documents, instead of doing this, then you now minimize and then you come to this, you can put them side by side. You can put them side by side. So if you come here to the top right hand corner, so you can see this and this, depending on how many tabs you want open. If I click on this, so it puts my documents side by side. I'm looking at something, I can type on this one. So I don't have to minimize this, bring it back, minimize this, especially if you are working on with only one screen. If you're working with two screens, then that can help. But if you cannot, you would, one is already open, one is open, and then you can come to this box. So you can open two screens, or you can even open three. So I have two Microsoft Word documents here and another one here. Another way of doing that, another way of doing that is, I wrote that down somewhere. Okay, you click on the window and the arrow to the left. If you want this document to the left, I'll go back again. There is a window key, the window that has the window, Microsoft window on your keyboard. So if I want this document to be on the left hand side, I'll click on the window key, and then there are these arrows on your keyboard, arrow pointing left, arrow pointing right, then up and down. If I click on the one to the left, because it's this one I want to the left, it comes to the left. If I want it to the right, I click on the window button, right, it goes to the right. So those two options, and these are the other things that are open. So I think I'll stop here for now. If there are any questions, we can take them. If there's anything you want me to go over, do let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olutomi. In fact, I'll have to go back and start afresh to listen to this. You've raised a whole lot of issues. I believe when some people saw this, I believe some may have assumed, is it not Microsoft Word? Why should I come for a workshop? But at least for those of us here, we've seen that there is more. There is. If you have any questions, please, can you raise your hand so that you ask? You can see that she's good. I can see all your thank you, Halima, Dr. Nena, that's good. You can see she's good. So if you have any questions that you need to, anything you want her to clarify, please, you can just unmute and speak, or you type it. Dr. Doris is saying thank you. Okay. As I oh, what a night. In fact, my brain is bubbling now. Is it bubbling, or there is increased entropy? A whole lot of things. You've raised up a whole lot of things, and honestly, I thought I knew Microsoft Word to an extent. I just knew that. I just found out that, no. So just like that story you shared, which I want to share again about the interview. It was actually someone, he went for interview, he went to UNICEF for an interview, and that was how it ended up. They just set up the Microsoft Excel, no questions, just sort out the data and produce the result, no oral questions. So imagine for some of us, if they open Microsoft Word somewhere before now, imagine how it would have been. for some of us. So that's why workshops like this are quite important. And I thank Dr. Olutomi for doing justice to this. Just like she said, there is no way we can exhaust Microsoft Word. In fact, there's even no software you'll be able to exhaust in about 1.5 hours. So, but this is just for us to know that we need to learn more. So, and we can still go to YouTube and find some videos to help us. ChatGPT also helps if you're trying to decode any software. So, but at least we have this like a springboard. From here, we'll now launch out. And just like I mentioned, anybody can take up this position. But before I say that, let me point out something. You know, I'm coming up as a founder, but there was something I noticed, or there is something I've noticed so far. Most times, people don't, the output that you get from people don't always match their certificates. So if you want to hire people based on what you see on LinkedIn, based on their certificates, you'll be shocked what you see. So I think the best strategy is actually to scout through LinkedIn on your own. In fact, that was how I knew that she understands Microsoft Word. She didn't tell me. It was from LinkedIn. I kept seeing her post. I was like, no, this person should know. And that's why you have such platforms. That's where you communicate what you know. And because some of us, we are not so good at doing that, you find the wrong people in a position where you should occupy, because you never brought out yourself for people to see. It was from her post that I saw it. So I think for a founder or any employer, the best way to get people is to watch them on LinkedIn. If you hire people based on degrees, you'll be so shocked. You'll be so shocked. This little one that I've done, I've seen a whole lot. It doesn't always, in fact, most times it doesn't, you don't get that output. So, but why not look through what they're doing? So it's an incentive for all of us to keep on doing our best. You may not know, she didn't know I was watching her. But I saw that post, and it wasn't today, it wasn't last month, I've seen it for some time before I finally made up my mind, say, okay, let me reach out to her. But you can also reach out to me. Like I mentioned, this is an open, our free workshops that are open platforms. Open, if you know that you mustn't be an expert, you mustn't. But if you know that you have above average knowledge of any software, just let me know. We'll find a day, but it won't be a month where that we have a 14-day challenge. So any month that we don't have 14-day challenge, you can always visit. Just leave it for me. I will amplify your voice as much as I will amplify, make you visible, and it will help you to also learn. And you add it to your speaker portfolio. You know, apart from writing portfolio, you should always also have that portfolio that I've spoken here, I've done this, I've facilitated a session here. So it adds to your portfolio at the end of the day. So thank you so much, Dr. Olutomi. Dr. Olutomi, thank you for honoring. I know that December is, everybody's head is popping now, including mine. Everybody's head is popping, and for you to say, okay, let's do this. It was when I thought, I was like, we have to close out the year with something. And the idea came late. But thank God that when I reached out to you, you accepted to do this. And you just came back from work. So this is a huge sacrifice that you've made, and I don't take it for granted. So let me speak like Apostle Simon. He will always say that this is a house of honor. So this is a house of honor. So I want to share something. Even though you are a member of the community, you don't just want to, okay, to just look at it like that you just came. So please, this is a certificate of appreciation on behalf of everybody, the ACE Medical Writing Hub. I want you to have something to remember that one day you spoke to us. So, and this is something that if anybody decides to do this, you also get that. So thank you very much. In sincere appreciation of your outstanding facilitation of the Microsoft Word workshop for the DA's Medical Writing Hub. Sorry about that. On December 16th, 2025. So Dr. Olutomi, we are very
Thank you
grateful
very
for
much.
this. And
Thank you.
so thank you everyone, and let me wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Azuka.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
now, thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Bye,
Great.
everyone.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Mhm.
Register now. See you in class. Register now. See you in class. Please subscribe.